What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State basketball heads on the road and lays an egg in Madison, Wisconsin, with a 71-92 loss to drop their record to 20-5 on the year, 10-4 in the Big Ten, and just kind of really disappointing, especially after essentially a week off. You haven't played since last Saturday night. You're playing here Friday night, so 6 days, had a day off in there, a couple days to, probably work on yourself and then prepare for this matchup and this, tough stretch that Michigan State is getting ready to go down. But, just came from the start, the first couple minutes. Cohen Carr came out really strong, and he definitely had, one of his better games of the year overall. Just no one else could get it going offensively enough, especially in the first half. And, just defensively, a lot of, I kind of twofold, a lot of lapses, but then also Wisconsin. What are you supposed to do with the team that hits 15 threes, shooting 43% from the field, from three, should I say? You're not going to win many games with that formula. And look, we talked about how good that Wisconsin was shooting the three. They were 11th in three-point attempts coming in. They were 11th in makes in the country, and they outshot their averages in this game. They average about 33, 34 threes a game coming in, 32 three-point attempts a game, I'm sorry, and they were making about 11. They go 15 for 35 in this one, and, some of them, yes, did get wide open. They were still deep ones, but they were wide open defensive lapses by Michigan State, but then some of them, you just had to tip your cap to Wisconsin, because they were making tough contested shots, not just threes, but twos, getting into the paint with their guards, hitting tough fadeaways. Blackwell, Boyd, I mean, we talked about them, one of the best backcourts in the country. They showed that tonight. Just disappointing overall for Michigan State, and a result in this one that probably you were already kind of on the outside looking in of a potential regular season Big Ten title. This probably puts you out of it, 3 games back now. Nothing for sure is decided yet, but that opportunity is very, very small now, and obviously that would have to include Michigan State winning out. They probably had to do that anyway, including this game to have a shot at it, but if you want any shot, then, your last 6 games, you'd have to win out in those, and pretty tough games here coming up for Michigan State. So now kind of the focus moves to trying to secure one of those top 4 seeds, so you don't have to play until Friday in the Big Ten tournament. But before we do jump into this game, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we'll just jump into Wisconsin, and we'll start with their dynamic backcourt. As we said, coming in, one of the best backcourts, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. Start with Nick Boyd. He got it going for them in the first half, 20 points in the first half. He plays 32 minutes, 29 points, efficient, 10 for 17, 5 for 7 from 3, 4 for 5 from the line, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, only had 1 turnover as well. The way he's able to kind of manipulate the floor, kind of bob and weave inside out, flip the floor, get different matchups and stuff, and he's still able to get to the basket, finish around the rim. But those 3-pointers too, he was just on an absolute heat check, and you kind of knew there was a couple different points in this game where you kind of were like, all right, this isn't Michigan State's night. Everything is going right for Wisconsin. Like, this was probably, I'll have to look to see Bart Torvik what their game score was, but I'm sure it was 100. If you can grade over 100, I'm sure it was. I think it was a missed shot. The ball was going out of bounds. Wisconsin saves it, and there's, about 3 Michigan State players there in the court, and Nick Boyd makes the perfect cut to come cut right in between them, get the ball, and and keep the possession for Wisconsin. So, I mean, he's incredible. And, to pair with him in the backcourt, John Blackwell, he was actually in foul trouble in the first half. 2 fouls, so didn't play a lot in the first half. Once he got that second foul, went out. But he still played 27 minutes, 24 points. Obviously, a majority of that coming in the second half, but pretty solid. 6 for 14, 4 for 9 from 3. A lot of those were contested ones as well too. So just shot making from him, get to the paint, tough fadeaways too. 8 for 8 from the line, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals as well. And he had a good game last year, or good games last year, if I remember correctly, when Wisconsin played Michigan State. So playing your home state, school, whatever you want to say. Obviously, playing at Brother Rice here in Michigan. Tough. I know Izzo talked about, not recruiting him and, had that quote earlier in the week. And, yeah, just a tough when your backcourt can go out and get you 53 points just by themselves. That's pretty impressive. That's, close to probably about whatever that math is. That's 80% essentially of Michigan State's points would have been just Wisconsin's backcourt. So, very impressive there. Andrew Rode, 6 points, 2 for 6 from the field, which all of them were 3-point shots, 1 rebound, 3 assists, couple turnovers, 2 steals. Nolan Winter, talked about him, a program big for Wisconsin there. 10 points, 4 for 7, didn't make a 3, 0 for 2, but 2 for 5 from the line and 11 rebounds, a double-double for him with an assist and a steal. Alekis Bielauskas, 2 points, 1 for 4 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, 0 for 1 from the line, but 5 rebounds and assists, 3 turnovers, 3 blocks as well. Was big for them down low. And then Austin Rapp off the bench, 7 points, 2 for 6 and 1 for 3 from the field and from 3-point range, 2 for 2 from the line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Almost fouled out in this one, had the last call, flipped for a hook and hold on Jax. And then the only other scorers off the bench, Jack Janacki had a 3 in this one with 3 rebounds as well. And Zach Kinzinger had a field goal late as well. So now we flip it over to Michigan State, and starting with the bench, Kurtang really got it going, kind of. He got a lot of shots up in this one. Finishes with 12 points in 19 minutes, 4 for 11 and 2 for 6 from 3, 2 for 2 from the line, with 6 rebounds, 2 turnovers. Cam Ward, 19 minutes, 4 points in this one, 2 for 2 from the field, 3 rebounds. Trey Fort only got 6 minutes up, but was 0 for 3 from the field, all of them from 3, had a rebound and a turnover. Denham Wojcik, 7 minutes, 0 for 1 from the field, had a turnover, pretty bad turnover, but had a nice steal. Jesse McCullough, 0 points, 0 for 2 from the field, 2 rebounds and an assist. So you get 16 points from your bench, and 3 guys that don't score. Aside from Kerr Tang, you get a total of 6 rebounds, which that's what Kerr had, 6 rebounds. So you get 12 rebounds essentially from your bench. Couple turnovers. Your bench accounted for 4 of your 9 turnovers, and way less of the minutes, obviously. So, yeah, just a disappointing performance overall from the bench when Izzo kind of talked about during the week how he talked with his bench guys and kind of strengthened numbers and stuff that worked for them last year. The starting lineup, Coop struggled in this one. He was in foul trouble, had 4 fouls, but he only plays 19 minutes, 6 points, 3 for 6. 8 rebounds, only had 1 turnover, but just a late shot clock when he kind of catches a grenade down there and has to make a jump hook post move or turn around. I felt too many times he was getting it on the left block, or I guess however you want to look at it. He was getting it on the other side where he was going over his right shoulder. I feel like he's so much better and more powerful going over his left shoulder. If that's just flipped, especially if I know Jackson spends a lot of time down there, but if that's kind of the situation and they can kind of get the ball flipped and Coop on the right side, I don't mind those shots, but some of them, and they were just coming up too short or whatnot, so just not good situations put in there. But Jordan Scott, another start, 27 minutes, 11 points, 4 for 13 from the field. He got up a bunch of shots, most on the team. 3 for 8 from 3, just had a couple of wide open ones too that just couldn't get to go down. 4 rebounds, 2 steals as well. Jackson Kohler, 30 minutes, 5 points. He's 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Shots just aren't going down. Teams are doing a lot better of contesting him at the 3, which is making him hesitate when he's trying to shoot. And then, he's having to DHO to something. The down low teams have read the scouting report and they know that he struggles when double teams come. So that happens, and then turnovers happen. This game he had 2 turnovers. He was able to have 7 rebounds and 2 blocks as well, but just have to find a way to scheme better stuff to get Jackson better looks. And they were able to run some quick stuff. It seems like the plays that worked really good earlier in the year with the Jeremy Jackson, kind of pick and pop or pick kind of the fake pick, kind of blur screen to flare for a three. That stuff is what they're covering well now, but it does seem to work when even off of a made bucket, it's done in transition. Even though if it might not be considered transition because team comes off making a basket, it seems like when Jeremy gets it down in 2-3 seconds and just runs it quick, where the defense is still coming back and setting up and maybe on their heels a little bit, then Jax is able to get a little bit more room to get those shots up. So, looking into that more, obviously we want to run. It's the mantra of the program, defend, rebound, run. But just any way to try to get Jax some more looks, because, the paint touches aren't working. Teams are reading the scouting report and doubling more in those situations. And, the three-pointers just haven't been going since that West Coast trip. So since before that West Coast trip, essentially. So got to find a way to kind of iron those things out here. But we'll go with Jeremy Fears. 32 minutes, 14 points. It was looking bad from the field, but was able to make a couple of late ones to make it 3 for 12 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, but 7 for 7 from the line. 1 rebound and 12 assists to only 1 turnover with the steals. So, still in this game when, they kind of said on the broadcast too, like Michigan State did not have anything going on offense at all, but Jeremy's still able to go for 14 and 12 in this one, and really no turnovers. So, but I think just a lot of those big shots are just ones that you got to hit. And I feel like too much, and I think some of Michigan State starts, because that's just kind of one overarching thing that we'll look here that we've been talking about now for seems like at least a month, but the slow starts for Michigan State. And we said once they start playing these teams that are towards the top of the Big Ten, it was going to bite them. It bit them again. It bit them against that school down the road. It's, probably, you look at some of these other teams. So I wouldn't consider Minnesota one of the top teams in the league, but you get the place going there in Minnesota, and things get tough. Road games in the Big Ten, and that's just kind of how you look at it. They were able to kind of avoid that against Illinois. They still had to kind of come back a little bit in that one, and some other games, but this one you got Purdue coming up, you got Indiana, UCLA on Tuesday, Ohio State coming in. Purdue, I think I said, school down the road again. So, we said once you start playing these other top tier Big Ten teams, like you can't go into halftime down 17 points and expect to win, this thing. That's gotta stop. And I've noticed a couple of these games when Michigan State gets out to the slow start. It's kind of the same thing Tom Izzo always says. When the head goes, the body goes. When the head dies, the body dies. And Jeremy Fears, the first, kind of couple minutes of some of these games that, we are off to a slow start, we see it. It's when there's not even just him scoring, but doesn't have any assists. Like, we shouldn't be getting to the under 16 timeout and Jeremy has no points and maybe an assist and a rebound. That's got to be a bigger point of emphasis, whatever you got to do to kind of get the team started, because as I said, that's how important he is. As he goes, we go. So those first couple minutes has to be a bigger emphasis on running stuff that, is for sure. We see this kind of happen when, unfortunately we've been in these situations the last, kind of 4 or 5 games, different times, but when another team is on such a run, whatever, and, going, I know kind of a little bit of different situation, but we have stuff that we can go to, all right, we know we can go get a bucket off of this. I don't know if any of that, whatever that situation is, but whatever it is, we gotta kind of just get into better stuff that we can know for sure, put points up on the board. Don't give yourself a 10-point deficit, so early in the game that you have to continue to fight back and claw back all game, exert more energy to come back, because, it's hard to do. And especially, I know Steve Smith talked about it numerous times on the broadcast, but, being down to Vine really shows in a game like this, with how dynamic their backcourt is, not having another, body to handle the ball, another, guy who has proved that he was a good shooter. It's tough. So, I think some of the Jeremy stuff will relay to Michigan State as a whole getting off to a better start. I think if he gets off to a better start, as a whole, we'll get off to a better start and other people can get going. Because look at Cohen in this one, came out and he was firing. Wisconsin comes down, hits the 3 to kick things off. Cohen Carr right on the other end, boom. 3. We're tied right there. And, he was really solid all night. And, the way he's been attacking the basket the last couple weeks has been really, really positive. 19 points in this one in 31 minutes, 6 for 10 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 6 for 7 from the line, 3 rebounds, only 1 turnover in this one. But yeah, can't say enough about Cohen Carr. Again, it seems like in these types of games, you really are kind of seeing Cohen like what. And I think some of it is like he's kind of almost being forced to, because in some of these situations that we've been put in, it's like you're really seeing him have to, attack the basket, attack the paint, which is some of the stuff that we need and we know that Cohen can do. We see it. We see that he's doing it, and that's what we were kind of waiting for. And when he's doing it, getting fouled, whatnot, and if he can, like we said, if he can knock down, say 2, 3 threes a game, like that changes. That changes. Like obviously, yes, it changes Michigan State's trajectory as a team, but that changes his trajectory as well, like going forward. So we're continuing to see him involve, and a really good game from Cohen Carr, in my opinion. But unfortunately, just not enough for Michigan State in this one. And just looking at overall stats, 36% from the field compared to 48 for Wisconsin, 30% compared to 43% from 3 for Wisconsin. Really solid from the free throw line, only missing 1, 15 for 16, 94% compared to 74 for Wisconsin. Tied at rebounds, 38 rebounds, 14 offensive rebounds, only 11 for Wisconsin. 24 defensive rebounds, 27 for Wisconsin. 13 assists compared to 14. 4 steals to 6 for Wisconsin. 2 blocks to 3. Michigan State in that realm. We always talk about 8 to 12. Only 9 turnovers in this one. They did a good job in this one. 6 turnovers for Wisconsin. They weren't able to turn them over. Michigan State 7 points off turnover. Wisconsin 21 points off turnover. That's a big problem and a big reason that Wisconsin, look, they won this game by 21. That's not saying that's the exact parallel. That's the only reason Michigan State lost this game. But that's just certain numbers to look at right there. Michigan State was solid with 24 fast break points again. 10 fast break points for Wisconsin, but the points in the paint was another spot that you lost this game. 14 for Michigan State. Wisconsin doubles you up at 28. So very disappointing. Wisconsin had to lead up to 24 at one point, but just kind of looking at everything overall, defensively, I think you're just kind of looking at some of the rotations, as we said, just allowing a few too many open shots. I wouldn't say wide open, but having too much airspace with as good of a shooting team as Wisconsin has proven to be this year. Not dominating the way you should on the glass. In this one, Wisconsin, a solid rebounding team overall, but definitely one that you felt like, Michigan State, one of the best rebounding teams in the country, without a doubt. So, and Wisconsin, 119th or so. So yeah, just disappointing in that front, defensively, rebounding. But then, as we said, the points off turnovers was a big thing, and then the points in the paint. So I think those are the handful of things that you look at if Michigan State turns this thing around. But I kind of really want to take back the thing about the rebounds a little bit, because it's like there just wasn't a lot of rebounds because Wisconsin was shooting the lights out of the ball. So yeah, you'd like to see that, maybe a 45 to like a 45 to 34, rebounding margin for Michigan State. Feel like they're, good enough on the glass that could be possible. And maybe this thing's a little bit closer, maybe a, single digit game or a 10-point game or something like that. But, it was other things. It was a three-point defense. Wisconsin just shooting the lights out of the ball. Points off turnovers and points in the paint, I think, were the biggest points of emphasis in this one that Michigan State definitely struggled with. And the reason that they had probably I won't say probably, this was by far their worst loss of the season. And just unfortunate that it comes after, kind of a 6-day break. You look at Bart Torvik, they had this as as we said, by far their lowest grade, but 41 grade on Bart Torvik. Minnesota was a 61, so now this is 3 of 4 losses for Michigan State, and just kind of an unfortunate trend over the last couple weeks. After that Maryland game where they had a score of 100 in that one, the Rutgers game that they came out and win at 65, then the loss against that school down the road, they actually had an 88. So a lot of that was the second half. stuff. But then Minnesota was 61. Come back, really good game against Illinois at 96, but then all the way down to 41 against Wisconsin. And I'm really, really curious what Wisconsin's game score for that one was. Had to be 100. Yeah, it was 100 in that one. And you look at that, that's their highest score of the season. There are other, kind of big wins this season against that school down the road in 99. 99 against Penn State, 98 versus Illinois earlier this week, then 100 against Michigan State. So at the end of the day, you have to give credit to Wisconsin because now they have 3 top 10 wins on the season. I know they talked about it multiple times on the broadcast, but that is going to be a horrific. If they keep winning, they might move up even more. But even if they move all the way up to a 6 seed, that's going to be a horrific 6, 7, 8 seed wherever they end up falling. That seems like the area that they're at right now. They are going to be horrific to see in the Big Ten, they're going to be horrific to see in the Big Ten tournament, but for the NCAA tournament as well, especially with guard play. With guard play, wins you games in March, and it wins you big time games as we've seen from them now with 3 top 10 wins this year. I think they're the only team in the country with 3 top 10 wins this year. But yeah, so just hats out to Wisconsin. They played an incredible game, but. Up next for Michigan State, you come home for 2 games, which, as I kind of said in the preview, I think is definitely needed. But you got UCLA on Tuesday, Ohio State Sunday, both of them right next to each other on Torvik, about 38-39 on Torvik. So still fairly tough opponents. Wisconsin, they're 26 right now. I forget what they were at coming into this game on Torvik, but yeah, got to kind of turn the ship here fast because look, you got not a lot of games left. You got 6 games left in the Big Ten season, and as I said, probably out of the race for the Big Ten regular season title. Gonna need a whole bunch of help. The teams ahead of you, though, you do play Purdue, and you play that school down the road again. But unfortunately, you have that loss to Nebraska in there. You do have the win over Illinois, though. That helps, but Illinois is going to have to lose another game to get to where you're at. So is Nebraska. You play Purdue, so if you win that matchup, can get right there. But then you're going to need that school down the road to lose 2 games before possibly setting up playing for a shot at part of the Big Ten championship on the last day of the season. That's kind of the hope. Not completely out of the question yet, but definitely fighting an uphill battle. To get back in that race. So as we said, I think the kind of main focus, obviously you still want to chase that and gear up for March and put yourself in a good position, but you got to finish the season strong. This last 6 games, you got to finish it strong, set yourself up, get yourself a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. And as we said, you play Purdue coming up, and right now they are the 4th seed technically. In the Big Ten tournament, if the Big Ten tournament were to start today. So you have that matchup. If you're able to win that matchup, put yourself in that 4 seed, should you win the other games, and Purdue, everything stay even to that point, should I say. You have the head-to-head win over Illinois, so if they were to lose another game, and you put yourself in that same category, if they had 4 losses as well. So you're kind of right there, and you got big games coming up over the next couple weeks to close the season. But got to right the ship fast. UCLA, they definitely got some dynamic players coming in on Tuesday, the Xavier Booker return game. So, curious to see how they come back. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. We'll be back to preview UCLA before Tuesday's game. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.